What's poppin', everybody? Sid-Roll24. Welcome to the new format, and we're going to start things off with a deck profile for Malamar. Since they finally updated the format, the cards that have rotated out and the legal sets, we now have no choice but to adapt and play with the Sun and Moon on format. And I built the deck, I tested it a little bit, and we're going to find out. Well, I did find out, but you guys are going to see if it's going to work, if it's going to be good enough. Now, I mentioned before that, the loss of float stones isn't the biggest problem for this deck, and that is true, but the loss of supporters such as Sycamore or Juniper, it was basically Juniper, but the loss of Sycamore, the loss of some other key attackers and other cards is what really hurt this deck, is what really hurts it, because you really want to dig, you really want to draw. Sycamore was a discard outlet too. It's probably the biggest loss of a supporter if I had to pick one. But anyway, I'm gonna show you what I'm working with here. So, Pokemon is still a lot of them the same. Necrozma GX is still the star, your main attacker. This deck focuses on this guy. If you have Ultra Necrozma GX, you can use that Pokemon. Maybe sacrifice a little bit of consistency with energies for more power. Good enough. I like this guy's GX attack though more. I've colorless Pokemon become a thing. He has a nice ability that's immune to him. Really nice. The only problem is the psychic weakness. That's problematic. It's better to be weak to Fairy, I would say. But anyway, Necrozma GX, we're still running two of this guy. We're still running our one Don Ming's Necrozma GX. This is going to be a switch out dude. Of course, there's no float stones. But if we get the Stadium out, put a Psychic Energy on this Pokemon, it's basically the same thing. Otherwise, it's a nice little Pokemon anyway, with Dark Flash, solid damage. GX attack can also be useful, so it can also be an attacker. It's still a good Pokemon. You gotta run it in a deck like this. Next up, the Malamar line is still the same. I considered bumping it up to 4, I guess to put some more useful Pokemon in since we lost a few Pokemon. At least with this, I know that I get more energy acceleration that way maybe. But 3 is still the best number. I don't want to bump it up to 4. It doesn't really do much. I need the space for attackers. I need the space for other Pokemon. And the problem is getting the energies in hand. This is the problem, to discard them. I'm really missing Professor's Letter as well. It's another very big loss. These are basically the problematic losses in this deck, not necessarily things like Floatstone, although of course that does hurt too. Gotta run the Giratina Prism. This guy is still in here. It's much more difficult to pull the Chaotic Star combo since we don't have Professor's Letter, but it's a great card, especially with the format slowing down. We're gonna be running Choice Band since we lost Fury Belt, so when you have that card attached to this guy, at 190, he can get some significant knockouts, so he's pretty good. And for the new guys, well, actually, Tapu Lele is still in here. I didn't bump it up to 2, even though it might be like a sound thing to think. Just add more Tapu Lele GXs to increase consistency. But like I've said, bench space is very important in this deck. Sudowoodo hurts it enough as it is. I can't have 2 Tapu Lele GXs, stuck on the bench there. It leaves me with no space. This is why Pokemon like Oranguru never made the cut in these decks, never added them. Anyway, now for the new faces. We lost the Hoopa from Steam Siege, and that really hurts. It was a good little Pokemon that could attack early, one of the exceptional Pokemon that could attack early in a deck like this, and had a solid attack, solid HP. And the replacement is going to be Deoxys. I haven't really found any other better replacement. I considered putting the Lunala Prism, but I don't really dig that card a lot. It's also weak to Dark too, and I don't want to add any more Dark weak Pokemon in this deck to Zoroark GX. I personally think Zoroark GX is going to be the best deck still. It's going to be a very good deck. And, Deoxys has Psychic, is the same attack Mewtwo had from Evolutions. I wish it did a little bit more damage, but, it is what it is. I'd rather have an X-Ball type of attack of Mewtwo. Doesn't even matter if it's not as strong as Yveltal EX, but we have the Psychic to work with here. It's got 10 less HP than Mewtwo too, but a better retreat cost. One retreat cost, this is very important. And Power Blast, doing 120 for 3, it's a pretty nice attack. You discard 1 energy. I think I'd rather have this instead of Hoopa's attack that maybe it does 130. I mean, I guess you could easily switch in this deck, so it's not a problem. But it's as good as it's going to get for basic Psychic Pokemon. You know, it can be still a good counter. Just with 2 energies, we can do a lot of damage on a Pokemon with a lot of energies. A great counter to fighting Pokemon, of course. Buzzle, a lot of people think Buzzle GX is going to be weak now. I think that Pokemon is still going to be great for the people that know how to use it with Lycanroc GX. But that's just me. And Power Blast is solid. Now that 1 retreat cost is very important though. We're going to touch upon it later. And then the last Pokemon that's going to basically have the place for Mime. We lost Mime too, so I have an open spot for a bench Pokemon like that, a supporting Pokemon. And we're going to use this Oricorio from, I was going to say Great Encounters, no, the Guardians Rising. With Vital Dance, when you play this Pokemon from your hand into your bench, we can actually add up to 2 basic energy cards and put them into our hand. So this is basically Professor's Letter on foot, a Pokemon that gives you the Professor's Letter effect. Of course, this isn't as, you know, flexible as having just an item card. It isn't as easy. It isn't as, well, easy because this is a Pokemon I have to play on the bench. It's going to have to stay on the bench then. And all this sort of interactions, implications, that's a word. But, you know, it's good. It's a Psychic Pokemon too. I can search it. It also has 1 retreat, which is important. I'm going to talk to you guys about this soon. We're never going to attack with it, but that's basically the choice. The only other option you could do is run Ripombi, a 1/1 line. This might not actually be too bad. Maybe I'll have to try that. But it's a stage 1. It can't be inconsistent. And, you know, it's not like I want to add energies forever to the hand. We just want to add a couple of them so we can discard them, get them in a discard pile, and then afterwards we have energies to attach to our Pokemon. And, you know, once your Pokemon get knocked out too, you know, this guy discards the energy when he attacks. You know, you have them. It's not like I have to continually, throughout the game, discard my Psychic energies. It's just that early, you know, Professor's Letter, get them, discard them with an Ultra Ball, some shit, Mystery Treasure in this case, I guess, and get them over there early. That's the important thing. So that's why we're going to run Oricorio. You could try Ripombi though. There's a Ripombi that has the effect that you can get at every turn. Add cards every turn. Okay. Now the Trainer Skeleton is where the real shit starts. I think I'm going to actually start with the items. Yeah, no, we always start with the items. I was probably going to start with supporters, but okay. So what do we lose for the items? We lost Evo Soda that this deck had, since we didn't have like level balls like an expanded. I was running one of that, and I was running things like Random Receiver. We had to get creative, and well, not really creative as we don't have that many options, but some cards have been lost. I'm not going to try and remember all of them, but I'm maxing out with the Acrobike. This is really necessary because not only it can be a lucky discard outlet for Psychic Energies, it really gives the speed this deck needs. You really just, the supporters and the cards that we have aren't enough to make this deck work. So I gotta max out a card like this. That just fetches me cards. I really wish Pokénav was a little better. If it was a little better, I would have ran that, you know, like Trainer's Mail. It's not that bad of a card. The problem is that it only reveals 3 cards, Pokénav, and you have to choose through Pokemon and energies. So I guess if it really revealed like 4 or 5, maybe it would have been better. But with just 25 cards total, reveal 3, it's going to be dead a lot, and I really don't dig that. So Acrobike is the way to go. There isn't really any other item searching card that can be better. I can't think of any other card. Order Pad is inconsistent because you flip a coin. I mean, I did play that before, try that in this deck, but I think this is just better. Just take the risk of discarding something. There's a lot of useless cards in this deck anyway, which are just here, just as an extra sort of thing. But anyway, I hope you guys understand what I mean. Hope it makes sense. They're not really useless cards, so much in the fact that we don't care as much as we discard them. So maxing out Acrobike. Maxing out Mystery Treasure, of course, this is a no-brainer. This was maxed out before, it's going to be maxed out now. And we're adding more nest balls. I think I had like 1 or 2 before. Now we're bumping it up to 3. It doesn't give you the flexibility of getting evolution Pokemon too. This can grab us basically anything. But you know what? It's basically the same. You just have to change your philosophy a little bit. It's just, okay, we're going to use nest balls to get a lot of the basics, and then use this guy to get the evolution pieces, Malamar, instead of Evo Soda, for example. So, you know, it kind of works out in that sense. You know, the loss of Evo Soda, maybe a few other cards. Not bad. I'm also running one Ultra Ball. I think I was running one before, and of course this is for basically anything. It's a discard outlet too, quite important. And the other standard stuff that's here is the 2 switches. Standard, we got the standard 1 rescue stretcher here, and I've already mentioned that. Let's see, the Fury Belt is replaced by 1 choice band, so we sacrifice a little bit of defense and flexibility to add damage to anything with power. You know, with choice band, Giratina becomes even more viable actually in that regard, getting 1-hit knockouts. It helps out this guy, of course. It basically helps you with any stage 1 GXs that he can't get the knockout with 3 energies. We don't need the 4th one when we have that. It helps with the knockouts on those stage 1 GX Pokemon, excluding that fucker Zoroark GX, resisting Psychic. But with everybody else, you know, it's good help. Gives you that extra power. We don't need the 4th energy. Sometimes this is good. Okay, so now for the new additions. As you guys have seen, there is 1 Looker Whistle here, and that's because I am running 2 Looker. And I think I should actually talk about the supporters since we talked about this shit. Okay, so for the supporters, you gotta have a Lily. There was 1 Lily before, there's another one here. I really hope I see this first turn even more now, since we don't have Sycamore and those supporters basically. So between Tapu Lele GX and having 2 of these, hopefully I see this first turn, manage to discard enough cards to get the effect off. It's just a nice little draw until you have a supporter 2. We gotta have the Cynthia. This is maxed out 100%, no questions asked. Then you gotta have one of this guy, Volknor. This is my Scholar replacement. It's actually a pretty close replacement. Not as good since you can't get stadiums and supporters on that off chance we do want to do that, but he's good. And then for the new additions, I'm running the Copycat, 1 of this card. This card can be pretty good or pretty bad depending on your opponent's hand, but I just feel like it's gonna, this card is gonna see more and more play. I just really feel like that. People are gonna start running maybe even 2 if they don't run more than that. It's kind of like the 1-off chorus. It's not completely good in the beginning, but maybe later on. And this card is not very good when your opponent doesn't have hand, but if it has a solid hand, then it becomes good. If they just have 6, then it becomes a 5th Cynthia, and that's nice. I mean, if it just has 5, it becomes a fucking damn Tate and Liza, which people think is going to be their savior now. And anything better than that, it becomes a great card. So I just feel like 1, you can't really ignore. You can't really just not run at least 1. So 1 Copycat. Next up we got Tate and Liza. Now a lot of people think of it the easy way. Okay, what's the next best supporter of Cynthia, Tate and Liza? Let's just max things out. But let me tell you guys, when the black and white rotation happened and it was just the X and Y format, I'm not sure what format was exactly, but it was basically a time where Shauna, people looked at Shauna, okay, this is a card that we might have to run now. We don't really have any other better option. And you run Shauna, you run that card, and you use it, you draw 5, and then you realize it's just not enough. You shuffle cards into the deck, don't draw that many cards. That 1 extra card you get with Cynthia really helps, and you don't thin your deck, you don't really draw the cards you need. So, you know, of course I realize we don't have anything better, but just thinking of maxing out Tate and Liza or just running multiple of these, it's not going to do it. You're going to have to think more creatively, find out better ways. If you just go the simple thing, just max out, let's just max out Tate and Liza, just run a lot of Tate and Lizas, you're going to find out in your games that you shuffle and draw, and you shuffle like a lot of cards, and since you only draw 5, you don't really get your consistency going. You don't really draw the cards to make your shit work. Especially in a deck like this, you really have to dig it. So I'm going only with 1. It's shuffle and draw 5. It's decent, I guess. The switching effect can also come in handy maybe in this deck. But we're going to go with 2 looker, straight draw 3, and the 1 whistle because it can fetch me those cards. So this is something that I'm trying out, and who knows, maybe you're just better off ditching these cards and just running more Tate and Liza or copycats. However, there comes a time in the game where you just have a decent hand to work with, and you actually do want a straight draw. And sometimes maybe you do have a couple of pieces in your hand, and you're thinking, okay, I just want some specific cards. It's not like I want to get rid of this whole hand. So maybe a looker can help you out. With Whistle, this becomes like a +1, draw 2 cards, get the lookers in the hand. Just basically to thin the deck. I may even actually use Looker's Whistle to just grab the supporters and then use Ultra Ball to discard one of them or things of this nature. So that's basically it. And then the 1 Guzma, just one like before. I can't really run anymore. We need the supporters for drawing shit. Okay, now I gotta mention something very important. There's the 2 cards we need to talk about. As you can see, there's only 2 Ultra of the Moon. Now I did consider running 3 or going actually maximum with 4 and just, like I've said before, just attach the Psychic Energy on Necrozma or your Psychic Pokemon, and then it becomes like a float stone. But the thing is, having multiple of this stadium, or any stadium for that matter, when your deck is like this, is quite bad. Remember, this card, having a lot of stadiums in this case, conflicts with Lily. So if I have a lot of these, I can only play 1, then I have a bunch of them stuck. You know, you can't really utilize Lily. Or you play that, you really wish you could play some cards, and then you just have this. It's not the same as having a float stone and attaching it. I really don't know how to explain it with you guys. I'm trying my best not to have the flow of the deck change a lot from what it was before. And this is why I'm sticking with 2. And what we're going to run is we're going to run a skateboard. So this is actually the closest thing to a float stone we have. The problem is in order for it to work like a float stone, and you don't have to care about energies in the Pokemon, they need to have only 1 retreat. This is where the Deoxys, Oricorio, Tapu Lele GX, the Pokemon that basically have 1 retreat cost, come in. Tapu Lele GX usually is stuck on the bench anyway, as it is if I play it. So might as well give it a roll, acting like a pivot, have that float stone over there, and give me that free retreat when something gets knocked out. Now, of course, you can run Tapu Koko, but I don't have that card, and also that card, I mean, it's not bad, actually. Spreading a lot of damage and, you know, helping with KOs on Giratina and Necrozma GX. It actually is quite good, but I don't have it. And, you know, if we added that card in, I considered adding things like Ferramasa just for the free retreat, and that Pokemon just isn't going to do anything more. I guess it can attack early too, maybe. But it really is necessary to have a bunch of psychic attacks like Deoxys. This card does what it does, adding me the energy, so maybe even if I had Tapu Koko, I wonder what I was going to take out. Maybe I would actually take out like a trainer, like maybe 1 Acrobike here. But between the Ultra of the Moons, this guy having a Psychic Energy on, and the 2 skateboards, you know, we just attach these to one of these Pokemon that have 1 retreat, and it's basically like we had a float stone before. So this is what you aim to do. It's kind of, let's say, very limiting, you could say. You can't attach it to anybody, but you really have to do, you know, tricks like these if you don't want the flow of the deck to change dramatically. If I dropped float stone completely, didn't run a skateboard, and just tried to rely on Ultra of the Moon, you were going to see that it was really going to conflict with Lily. It changes the flow of the deck. So like this, you know, maybe it can be something. And we have the 12 Psychic Energies. This didn't change at all. So this is the deck. I'm going to show you guys some games. Sometimes it has a really good flow. Of course, it's not going to be how it is in Expanded or how it was in Standard before, where we had uh, Sycamores. We even had good cards like Random Receiver, even though it wasn't Trainer's Mail. You know, that sort of thing. But of course, since I don't have those cards, other people don't have the Sycamores and stuff, and shit. So this is how it is. So this is a deck update to Malamar. I'm going to show other decks, of course, too. So for now, I hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you guys subscribe. I hope you guys leave a like and share this with your friends. Cerebro24, what's up?